Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Sufi Essence with Hammad Syed. Part 8.5. Alien, fail the spoils of war. Beloved seekers of divine wisdom, our journey through Surah Al-Anfal continues, carrying us deeper into the heart of the spiritual and historical lessons embedded within this grand chapter. We have just contemplated the divine nature of the Battle of Badr, learning that victory was not achieved by human strength alone, but by the will of Allah, who intervened to support the believers and weaken the plans of the disbelievers. The verses made it clear that a believer's true strength lies in a trembling heart, a steadfast faith, and a complete reliance on their Creator. Now the narrative shifts, moving beyond the physical battle to the greater spiritual struggle that awaits every soul. The verses that follow are a summons to a higher purpose, a call to a life that transcends mere existence and becomes a living testament to faith. This sacred discourse speaks to the very core of what it means to be a human being on a spiritual path. It is an exploration of the concept that true life is not the simple act of breathing, but a dynamic engagement with the divine, a state of being where the heart is awake and receptive to the truth. The verses that unfold before us are a powerful reminder that the blessings of this world are families. Our wealth are not ends in themselves, but trials and trusts from our Creator. The divine message here is that the greatest wealth is a heart connected to Allah, and the greatest success is found in obedience and a life lived in His remembrance. The narrative gives a timeless lesson to every believer. Our journey on this earth is a journey of constant vigilance, of nurturing our spiritual life, and of recognizing that the most significant relationships and possessions are those that lead us closer to our Creator. The glorious Quran states, Kanzul Iman, Quran, Anfal, the spoils of war, A24. O you who have believed, respond to Allah and to the Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life, and know that Allah intervenes between a person and his heart, and that to Him you will be gathered. This verse, cherished listeners, is an unparalleled invitation to a new form of existence. The command to respond to Allah and to the Messenger when He calls you to that which gives you life is a magnificent statement. At the time of this revelation, the early believers in Medina, small communities surrounded by enemies, and in the aftermath of a major battle, were being told that the very core of their faith, the Quran and the Prophet's teachings, was not just a set of rules, but the source of genuine spiritual life. This was a message that transcended the physical hardships they faced. The call of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was a call away from the spiritual lifelessness of ignorance and towards the vibrancy of truth, a vibrant and alive existence that filled their hearts with purpose and courage. The verse then adds a chilling and a deeply personal truth, and know that Allah intervenes between a person and his heart. This is not a statement of a tyrannical God, but a whisper of divine sovereignty and power. The heart, the seat of our beliefs, intentions, and desires, is not entirely our own. It is held in the hand of our Creator. This was a direct message to the believers, and a warning to the wavering among them that the ability to accept or reject the truth, to act on faith, or to be complacent, is a mercy from Allah. A person may desire to believe or to do good, but unless Allah wills it, their heart can be prevented from doing so. It served as a reminder that they could not take their faith for granted, and they had to constantly seek Allah's help to keep their hearts on the right path. It was a clear and a sobering reminder that their very ability to believe was a gift from Allah, and they should be grateful for it. The verse concludes with a powerful and a sobering reminder, and that to Him you will be gathered. All of our actions, all of our intentions, all of our victories and struggles will one day be brought to account before Allah, the most compassionate and the most merciful. This was a direct call to consciousness, a call to live every moment with the knowledge that a final reckoning awaits. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught about the nature of the heart. It is narrated in Jami at-Tirmidhi Hadith number 2140 that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The heart of a human being is between two of the fingers of the most compassionate. He turns it as He wills." This saying echoes the verse's meaning perfectly, illustrating that the heart is a trust from Allah, and we should constantly ask Him to make it steadfast upon the truth. The believers of that time understood this, and their daily prayers included pleas for their hearts to remain firm in faith, a practice that serves as a timeless guide for us today. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-Anfal, the spoils of war. 8:25. And fear a trial which will not afflict those who have wronged among you exclusively, but will also affect others. And know that Allah is severe in penalty. This verse, dear listeners, is a stern warning, a spiritual alarm for the community. The command to fear a trial which will not afflict those who have wronged among you exclusively was a powerful and a sobering statement directed at the young community in Medina. It conveyed a message of collective responsibility and a sense of shared destiny. It meant that the consequences of sin, of complacency, or of a failure to uphold justice would not be limited to the one who committed the wrong. The trial or punishment would be a general affliction that would affect the righteous and the unrighteous alike. This was a direct call to action, urging the believers to not be silent in the face of injustice and to actively command good and forbid evil. The historical context makes this verse especially significant. The early community in Medina was a fragile entity, and its survival depended on the collective spiritual and moral health of its members. The presence of some individuals who were weak in faith or who engaged in hypocrisy was a danger to the entire community. This verse was a powerful motivator for the believers to not only maintain their own piety, but to also be vigilant in ensuring the moral health of the entire society. It was a reminder that the failure to address the wrongs of the few could bring consequences upon the many. The verse ends with a direct and an uncompromising statement, and know that Allah is severe in penalty. This served as a powerful reminder of divine justice and the ultimate consequences of ignoring His commands. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-Anfal, the spoils of war. 8:26. And remember when you were few and oppressed in the land, fearing that people might snatch you away, but He gave you refuge and strengthened you with His help and provided you with good things that you might be grateful. This verse, cherished listeners, is a beautiful and a nostalgic reminder of the past. The believers in Medina were being asked to reflect on their past state in Mecca. They were few and oppressed in the land, fearing that people might snatch you away. This was a vivid and a painful memory for many of them. They had lived for years under constant threat, facing persecution, torture, and social ostracism. They were a small, vulnerable group in a city that was hostile to their very existence. The verse then paints a beautiful picture of Allah's mercy. But He gave you refuge and strengthened you with His help, and provided you with good things that you might be grateful. The refuge in Medina, the victory at Badr, and the subsequent blessings were all direct results of Allah's intervention. This verse was a direct call to gratitude. It was a reminder that their current strength and prosperity were not their own doing, but a gift from their Creator. This was a vital lesson for a community that had just gained a victory and was in danger of becoming arrogant or complacent. It brought them back to their humble beginnings and reinforced the idea that their ultimate source of strength was Allah, and their ultimate purpose was gratitude. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-Anfal, the spoils of war. 8:27. O you who have believed, do not betray Allah and the Messenger, or betray your trusts while you know the consequence. This verse, dear listeners, is a strong command to uphold integrity. The command to do not betray Allah and the Messenger is a powerful and a direct statement of the highest form of loyalty required from a believer. Betrayal of Allah and His Messenger means a betrayal of the divine commands and the divine message itself. It is the highest form of spiritual and moral treachery. The verse then adds a crucial and a personal warning, or betray your trusts while you know the consequence. This was a direct command to the believers to be vigilant in all their affairs. A trust is not just a material possession, but includes all the responsibilities that a person has been given by Allah. This includes their families, their wealth, their knowledge, and their responsibilities to the community. Betraying a trust is to be dishonest in these matters. The verse warns them that this is not a sin committed out of ignorance, but a conscious act of betrayal. This was a timely and a necessary reminder for a community that was dealing with the distribution of spoils of war, a time when human greed could easily overcome spiritual integrity. The warning was clear. Their loyalty and their honesty were not to be compromised for any worldly gain. Kanzul Iman, Quran, Al-Anfal, the spoils of war. 8:28. And know that your wealth and your children are but a trial, and that with Allah is a great reward. This verse, beloved seekers, is a beautiful and a concluding statement that summarizes the spiritual lesson of the surah. The Quran states, "And know that your wealth and your children are but a trial." This is a gentle but a clear reminder that the things we hold most dear in this world, our material possessions, and our families are not signs of our success, but are, in fact, a test. They are a test of our gratitude, a test of our integrity, and a test of our loyalty to Allah. They have the power to distract us from our ultimate purpose and to lead us astray. This was a vital lesson for a community that was now becoming more prosperous and was in danger of becoming complacent. It was a reminder that their blessings were also a responsibility, and they should not let them become a veil between them and their Creator. The verse then ends with a powerful and a final message of hope, and that with Allah is a great reward. The ultimate reward is not in the fleeting pleasures of this world, but in the eternal and a great reward that awaits a believer in the hereafter. This was a direct call to reorient their priorities, to not be a slave to their worldly possessions, but to strive for the eternal reward that is with Allah. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught about the importance of being detached from worldly possessions. It is narrated in Musnad Ahmad Hadith number 22,442 that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The dunya, this world, is a prison for the believer and a paradise for the disbeliever." This saying encapsulates the essence of the verse, reminding us that a believer's true home and true reward are in the hereafter, and their time on this earth is a time of a test and a struggle. The ultimate triumph is to pass this test and to achieve the great reward that is with Allah. Beloved listeners, the narrative of this part of Surah Al-Anfal is a timeless and a universal lesson for every human being. It reminds us that our spiritual journey is a journey of living a life that is in a constant state of a conscious awareness of Allah's presence in our hearts, our homes, and our community. It teaches us that our ultimate salvation is in living a life that is in a constant state of obedience, integrity, and a complete reliance upon our Creator. It is in this that we find our ultimate peace and our ultimate success. O Allah, who is the most compassionate and the most merciful, we ask you to make us among those who respond to your call and to keep our hearts firm upon the truth. We seek refuge in you from the trials that afflict us both individually and collectively. We ask you to make us among those who are grateful for your blessings and who do not betray the trusts you have given us. We ask you to purify our hearts from the love of this fleeting world and to grant us the great reward that is with you in the hereafter. May Allah illuminate your heart and mind with the light of this divine knowledge. May He make your channel a beacon of guidance for all who seek spiritual clarity and truth. May your efforts be a source of immense reward, and may you be granted the highest stations of paradise. May the peace and blessings of Allah always be upon you and your loved ones. May He grant you unwavering steadfastness on the path of truth, and may your work be a testament to His magnificent names, the most compassionate and the most merciful.